Hey everybody, what's going on? Alan here. Welcome back to the Gibson Garage YouTube channel, and thank you for coming back to the channel as well. Of course, thank you guys for everything, for all your support, and you know, you're just really making this a whole bunch of fun. It's really awesome to communicate with everybody and to get it out there as much as I'm getting it out there. You want to keep showing your support, then go ahead and hit that super thanks button down there. And so we can get this lift up. I still got a little bit of concrete to pour so we can get the lift. It's kind of stacked over there on the side. But yeah, the sooner we can do that, the sooner we can have even more fun, right? I guess. Or it'll just be easier. But today we're gonna work on the truck again, back on the truck after the fail with the Magnum. And I haven't returned those headers yet. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't even know if I can. Typically, you can't return stuff after a year after you bought it, and it's been like a year and 8 months. So I think I'm just going to try to avoid the headache of calling them and just try to make my own fix. But we'll talk about that in another video. In this video, we're going to be installing an air-fuel ratio gauge on this thing. This is mostly just kind of for fun, for looks, for aesthetics, just a cool factor, you know. It's not absolutely necessary because it's still smog legal vehicle, computer controlled already. It's just for me to have some extra info. And also, I haven't taken this to the smog shop yet. I still have to go get this registered. I would like to know how close I am before I even take it to them. So we're gonna install this gauge here. I've got one from AEM. This is one of their better ones. It's got all the stuff needed. It's the whole kit and caboodle. It'll even hook up to like an aftermarket controller for data logging. We've got the bung here we need to weld in. Maybe, we'll talk about that in a second. But also I want to install this. Should be a clue as to where I'm going to install the gauge. Now, as for where I'm going to install it in the pipe, right now I'm just going to install it right here. In this header, there's already a hole right there, and reading half one bank should be the same really as reading both banks. You should still have the same air-fuel ratio. But we're gonna do it this way first and just get everything wired up and set up, and I'll have some extra wire, you know, the extra wire hanging out over here. So after we're all done, everything's working right, I've got the gauge installed, we can then move the sensor over to the Y pipe and see if we get a difference in readings, where that'll be its permanent position, is in the Y pipe right next to the other sensor. So hiding right here is where I'm gonna install it. I was almost gonna put it in a pillar pod right here. I had it in the shopping cart and everything. I was just waiting to see if maybe I could add something else to the cart to break $100 so I didn't have to pay for shipping. But then in the meantime, I thought about this, and I think this will be more stealthy. We're gonna hide it in the ashtray. Since I don't smoke, you know, we can just do something with this. We'll make a plate that goes over this, and we'll put the air-fuel ratio gauge and that other thing right here too. We'll fix up that corner, but that's gonna be the panel just like that. Okay, well, I've got the cans of paint warming up in the sun so I can paint that bracket up. We're going to start laying some wires for this thing. And first things first is drilling a hole through the firewall. I've done the, you know, poke through the old spots once or twice before, and there's just not room for the big. I've got like a 1/2 inch wide connector, so we've got to drill a hole. I'm gonna put one right above the hood release cable right there, because it's easy to get to on both sides. Put a file on her so it's not so rough. Let's see if we can pop this little guy in. So noisy. Okay, well, that was the easy part. Now we've got to wire up some power to it. The second cable here that came with the kit is the one you would use for the data logger, wire in all these extra wires. However, we only need 2 little pitties. We just need the black and the red, and we'll have some power to this thing. So this is the cigarette lighter connector, which I'll be cutting off just like I did in the Suburban. If you want to know how I installed this in the Suburban, go check out that video in the Suburban portfolio or folder playlist. This isn't always hot, or this is always hot. Make a liar out of me. Oh, there we go. And this is what I have the power for these switches up here, so I can run the pump and the fans. They're just signal wires, so it's not the main wire for the relays, but that's what I'll be running this off of, just like in the Suburban. But for the gauge, I am going to run a wire over here to the fuse box, which is switched, which is what I have, like just the illumination for the lights hooked up to. So the illumination only comes on when I turn the key on, and that's what the gauge, the air fuel ratio gauge, will be hooked up to. Sweet. This wire here was hooked up right up there. It's an outlet on this thing that is switched. It's labeled blue. It's like a skinny little prong, but it works. Just trim back these other wires so they're not exposed. There it is. We just got to screw this to this brake assembly plate up here. Plug this back into the little port that says blue, and we'll have power to the gauge in just a minute. Jiminy. Ooh la la. That fits in there nice, huh? Here we go. It's rich in the morning. Well, it's been a couple days, I'll be honest, and I've been doing a lot of thinking, probably too much thinking about the exhaust. I just need to get on with the videos, what I need to do. What I was contemplating was remaking the Y pipe with a little bit larger tubing. I have some extra 2 1/4 that I had left over from doing the exhaust on the Magnum, because the stock exhaust on the Magnum is 2 1/4. But I was just thinking how small this stuff is. It's like 2 inches OD, right? And the new stuff I have is 2 1/4 ID, which would look a lot cleaner, and it's got mandrel bends too, so you wouldn't get none of this necking down here. But we're gonna save that for another video if I decide to do it at all. I was thinking, you know what, if I'm gonna make a whole new exhaust, why not just redo it, like going past the transmission and coming to a point out there. But anyways, I've made a little dimple here where I'm going to put in the bung for the other oxygen sensor. You want it between 0 and 15 degrees, somewhere around there. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it, and we're going to put it right there. I got a ways to go. Now I should have lots of extra cord here to run this along the wiring harness over the transmission tunnel and right over there under the battery. Reading the same when it's cold. Let's see what it reads when it's hot. next day, and I want to pull the spark plugs out. I noticed they're not stock. They're actually 4.2s. The heat range is a 2. Stock heat range on this is supposed to be a 4.3. CR43TS for AC Delco. For some reason I have R42 TSs. I think I was experimenting and just forgot. So we're gonna pull these out and see how they look, and then I have CR45 TSs that are basically brand new. They look like they were plugged in once. I'm not sure if they were plugged into my engine or if I got these from someone else. But yeah, let's just do that. So yeah, these are soaked in fuel, which I guess is not surprising considering the bigger injectors that are in there on a 305. So here's the 4.2s. So the R means resistor, 4 means 14 millimeter thread, the 2 is the heat range, TS is tapered seat. There's an L also if you wanted long, which threads are like twice as long. But here's the 4.5s. Alright, we're running, and it's already running a little better. It's not missing, getting that cold miss. AFR is a couple points higher than with the 4.2s. You see, I'm just holding it less than 1500, and it cleans up really quick. I'm starting to smell the cats now, or the cat. Well, it's a Monday. Raiders lost again yesterday. What are they? 2-5 now. Jiminy. Boy, the Bills kicked butts though. Bills are on a roll. That's we're gonna have to put the truck on hold today. Yesterday I did drive around with the 4.5s in it, and it seemed to do a little bit better. It still seems to be running lean when it's idling, and it still seems to be idling low. I think the alternator, it seems like the alternator can't hold up. The little 105 amp isn't doing the job with all those electronics, and while it's idling, you can, when you turn the fans on and off and you turn the water pump on and off, you can feel the truck bogging down and raising back up. And then when it's in drive at a stop sign, it's idling really low, and you're not supposed to be able to adjust the idle on these. You can pull the tension on the cable, which kind of inadvertently holds the idle up, but I don't think that's right. The idle is supposed to be, well, here, I'll show you. So right here is the idle screw, and actually when I sent this off to get machined flat and bored out, and they put in the bigger injectors, they bench tuned it, or they said it was tuned. I don't know how they tuned it, but obviously that meant they had to get in here and drill this screw out and adjust the idle a little bit, but they weren't counting on, it's probably right. I'm gonna assume it's still right. I think it's just the electric load on the alternator So I don't think it's gonna pass smog yet until we get those problems figured out. But today I gotta work on the yard. I mean, if the rain is coming tomorrow, maybe even tonight, and the yard is a mess. I've got like deteriorating plastic all over the place, and it's Halloween, or at least it was. It's the next day, and as you can see, the rain did come in. So there's that. Well, that's gonna do it for this video. I'll give you a finish shot in just a second. Thank you guys for following along. Thanks for all your likes, all your comments, and everything. I am also on TikTok now, so you can find me on almost all the platforms. TikTok is Gibson Garage SS. Facebook is just at Gibson Garage. And Instagram is GG Speed Shop.